Are you facing the first holiday season alone without your children? And are you finding that you have a lot of challenges figuring out how you're going to balance your desire to be with your children and the importance of ensuring that they are comfortable being with their other parent, that you're not interfering in the process? My name is Laura McGee, and I'm the founder of Leave Strong Divorce Coaching. And today I want to talk about basically a survival guide of how we get through these holiday seasons when we're newly co-parenting. Really, first of all, you need to acknowledge where you are in this emotional process. Divorce is really a difficult process for everyone, and oftentimes people experience anxiety, depression, enormous feelings of loss, loneliness. There's a complexity of emotions. What is it you're going through? What is it you're trying to deal with? And are you attaching yourself to your children as a way of avoiding having those feelings? So spend some time, first of all, just identifying what your fears are, what your anxieties are, how they are showing up in your everyday parenting, and start to think forward to how you're going to work through a holiday plan. This might be the first time that you don't share a few traditions with your children. A great tip is to start thinking about, how can I create new traditions? You maybe remember the first time that you didn't spend your actual birthday with your parents. You probably weren't at a loss. They might have been at a loss, but you probably weren't feeling lost. You're probably spending time with friends or a loved one of some nature. But we assume that somehow our children are experiencing the same loss we're feeling. And you don't need to go and quiz them about it. It's just coming to understanding that if it's a birthday or a holiday moment that you aren't sharing with them, how can I create a tradition that will keep it special for us? Because it's really the special parts. It's the memories that we cherish. It's not so much the date. Take your mind off the specific date and think about what those traditions could be, or those new fun things. It's funny, one of the things I started to do with my kids as a Christmas celebration is, and we don't get to do it on Christmas morning because I don't always have them on Christmas morning, is I'd make apple pie, and we would start Christmas morning, whatever we called our Christmas morning, with apple pie. And it was a tradition we began after our divorce because I was looking for a way of doing something that was completely new, that would really bond us and just be our special thing that they would be able to remember, instead of remembering that they weren't with me on Christmas morning. So that's just an example. You know, it can be as fun or as silly or lighthearted, joyful as you want it to be, but make it special for your family. Next, make a plan well in advance. Don't try and schedule travel plans or visits with family at the very last minute and expect your spouse to accommodate any change in schedule. You know, this is the most difficult and high conflict time, not only holiday time, but asking for an adjustment in the schedule. The minute you start telling your spouse, oh, I need everything changed, typically the reaction you're going to get is, why is it always about you? And the conflict begins. And the children end up in the middle of it. So plan your holiday time and your family time as the best of your ability well in advance. Make sure you're communicating those plans in accordance with whatever parenting plan you do have, and with respect for not only your children and their needs, but also with their co-parent, so that it can be done without creating a conflict each time you head into a holiday schedule. And if you're perhaps looking at the summer holidays, where kids are going to be away from both of you for periods of time, going to maybe residential camps, off to see grandparents, there's even more considerations involved. You need to balance the schedule based on, you know, if they're going to be away, who's paying for that, what are the other concerns. So sometimes the conflict arises around if there is agreement as to what kind of extracurricular or camp activities that they should be involved in, which grandparents they're allowed to visit for how long. All of this can be negotiated, and should be negotiated well in advance before your children have an expectation that something like this is going to happen, and then the disappointment has to be set in, or they have to experience the tension and the conflict as the two of you try to work it out. Holiday time, any kind of holiday time, summer holidays, any of these special occasions are difficult times for co-parents. And it's really your responsibility to make sure your children are not in the middle and are not the ones experiencing the conflict. Keep it away from them. If you're looking for more tips and strategies on how to plan in advance and how to co-parent cooperatively in ways that keep your children out of the conflict, join me here at leavestrong.com.